Hello everybody,
Hi.
and welcome to our first video on Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier.
Hey.
We wanted to make this video to get some information out there to everybody about this game. This is going to be a mobile battle royale game set in the universe of Final Fantasy VII.
Woohoo!
We couldn't be more excited as the release date is coming right up on the 17th of this month.
Which is next week.
They are putting out so much stuff in anticipation for this game. You can go check out their Twitter. Lots of information there. There's also a registration bonus if we get enough people to pre-register for the game.
So please, please pre-register so we can all get some free stuff.
So anyway, the cool stuff that is going on in this game that we are excited about is number one, it's gonna be on mobile, and we love the existing battle royales on mobile currently, and we think this is going to be a really good addition into the industry. It's based in the Final Fantasy VII universe. There's a lot going for it just from being a Final Fantasy game. And also, it is not only a Final Fantasy game 7 or a Final Fantasy game on mobile, it is a Squaresoft made game on mobile. A lot of the Final Fantasy games on mobile that have come out recently have just been licensed out to other companies, and so it's very exciting to see this game that is actually being made by Squaresoft itself. This is going to be a little different from most battle royales in that it is class based. There's warriors and sorcerers, and yep, there's the sorcerer right there. Monks and ninjas so far as the classes in the game, so it's going to be a little bit like Apex Legends if you're familiar with that. You can choose a character or a class, and you're going to have some abilities that are inherent to your class that aren't going to be accessible to the other classes. And so that's going to be just mixing it up a little bit. You know, PUBG is very much you're a standard human that doesn't have any class abilities or anything like that. But this is a Final Fantasy game. They say it's a battle royale, but it's also an RPG.
Yeah.
And so they have some classes, and that's going to add some additional functionality, which is really cool. As far as the ground loot goes, there are going to be guns in the game. We've heard that the melee that you are equipped with by default is very strong depending on your class. And so there are shotguns, but we've heard that shotguns aren't really useful.
No.
But in addition to that, there's heavy ammo and light ammo.
Mm-hmm.
So light ammos are going to be like SMGs, and heavy ammo is going to be ARs, LMGs, and snipers.
Woohoo.
And so yeah, some pretty standard battle royale fare. But like I said, having that Final Fantasy magic in as well as summons is going to be like it's a big deal. It makes it this game is going to stand out. In addition to that, there's going to be some verticality, and in this game for certainly some of the classes, we haven't gotten a chance to play this, so we don't really know how much verticality every class is going to get. But
Yeah.
we're just going to have to stay tuned for more of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of mobility options in this game. You know, in addition to verticality, you're going to need to be able to get through the map to get to the new circle, and not take damage from the circle. And there are just the standard vehicles. There's a bike and there is a truck. But in addition to that, since it's a Final Fantasy game, no Final Fantasy game would be complete without chocobos.
Chocobos.
There they are. And so yes, it's kind of like a bus stop in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You go up and you can call your chocobo. And they just released on Twitter some information about breeding your own chocobos outside of game. And so it looks like you're going to be able to customize your chocobos, and when you call the chocobo, your specific chocobo is going to show up and be able to ride you around the map, which is so cool. That is just like an awesome Final Fantasy touch that they've put into the game.
And you get to hear Final Fantasy Chocobo music. So we've talked about what we've heard from the game, but we are definitely excited about summons. You can summon. We've only seen Ifrit, but and from the trailers we've seen Bahamut
And Shiva.
And Shiva. I haven't seen Shiva, but I'm excited to summon Shiva and the other summons. Magic, of course. We've heard magic, but throwing magic. Fire, bio, blind, gravity. All those magic abilities are amazing. It looks great.
Arrow is in the game.
Arrow is in the game.
If you cast it and you jump on it, it looks like it super jumps you into the air.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know.
They've really outdone themselves with what each of the spells can do.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, look here. That looks like Shiva. I'm assuming.
Yeah, that does look like Shiva. You're right.
But it's only assumption. Sorry.
Yeah. But there you go. You saw Bahamut.
Yay.
Moving on, Final Fantasy art is always, always looked forward to in
Oh,
a Final Fantasy game, and music, like we said earlier.
oh yeah.
Final Fantasy music and art, amazing, always. And then we love controller support. Controller support! Oh my gosh. Mobile game, controller support. Oh my god. Yes, I am excited. Wee 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 wee.
It's a big difference when you play a battle royale on mobile and are able to actually play the game as if it is on console because you actually have controller support.
Yeah.
So those are some big deal things that make this game super exciting for us. And we have been kind of following this game on social media and been hearing a lot of opinions from basically from console gamers and mobile players. When I say console gamers, I'm also saying PC gamers. I'm just going to say console gamers just to kind of like simplify things.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, Final Fantasy as a series came about as specifically or exclusively in consoles back before mobile gaming was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had Game Boy Final Fantasy and all that jazz, but there's a lot of contention right now because this is a purely mobile game. A
Yeah.
lot of people are kind of bent out of shape because they wanted to play this game on console. They wanted the Final Fantasy VII remake graphics, and the two things about that are we're going to make a video about how we're going to play this game and how we're going to stream this game because we have the hardware set up with basically our phones have USB-C, and if your phone is capable, there are docks and adapters that allow you to go from USB-C to HDMI, and so you're able to actually play the game on a big screen just like a console. And just as Mary mentioned earlier, there is controller support, and so you are going to be able to play this game as basically just like a console game if you have a USB-C to HDMI, or if you're able to hook your phone up to HDMI and then hook a controller up to it. Boom, you're going to be able to play this game just like the console battle royales, just like, well, PC battle royales, you use mouse and keyboard. But I digress. Being able to use a controller and a big screen is going to make a big deal for this game. There are mobile battle royales currently that do not have controller support,
Yeah.
and they have massive followings. People are really good at playing the game without a controller, but that's just not for us. We very much prefer being able to play with a controller, just like the old school Final Fantasy games, and the fact that they have added that into the game is so cool. We have heard that the controller support is a little bit lacking, but that was in the beta, and we hope for the best going forward. It looks like casting the spells could be a complex thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe working up the controller support for casting the spells hasn't really been worked out yet. But the release date is on the 17th. That's 6 days from now. We will see what they have worked out before then. So yeah, that was kind of the perspective of a console gamer. There's some people that are disappointed, but you can't really be as disappointed as, in my opinion, about that. Specifically, they want the Final Fantasy VII remake graphics, and they're like, a mobile game, this isn't going to have the graphics that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And to be completely honest, even if this was on the PS4 or the PS5 or the PC, there's only certain people that have enough money to build very, very expensive rigs that could run a battle royale with 100 plus players and a bunch of combat going on, as well, that would look as well as Final Fantasy VII Remake does. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a single player game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just with all the networking and everybody running around fighting and casting spells and summons at each other, as opposed to just the single player and all of your characters doing all that jazz, in an isolated area. It's really hard for game engines to be able to render very high polygon count models for these massive battle royale experiences. And so I understand it is a valid point that people want better graphics in their video games these days, but I feel that the graphics they're being shown in this game are actually really good, even for a mobile game.
Yeah.
You got to look at games like Fortnite, where they don't have the best graphics in the world. They have an engine that allows them to make beautiful characters and
Mm-hmm.
cartoony and fun items and other things with their polygons without having to have the best graphics in the world. And so even if this was like a console or a PC game, they'd have to balance that and make some choices meet in the middle. But with it being a mobile game, I really think they're just going to push the graphics, the capabilities. I understand that like a lot of the points of interest and the buildings from a distance look really bad when you're jumping in. That's the way that Battle Royale is on the mobile. But once you get down to the ground and things like kind of load in, like the character models look like very high polygon count character models. This grass in these areas, they can be a little bit blocky because they're on mobile, but everything I think is skinned rather well. And it is going to be a Final Fantasy game, like I said, and so it is. They're going to try to make it as beautiful as possible. I mean, look at this bomb. That's a very good looking bomb.
Yeah. There's bio.
Bio, yeah, like the spell effects in the game. The game can slow down a little bit on certain phones, and so we're just going to have to see how well it runs on the average phone. Some people say that, oh man, my phone it won't run this. But yeah, if your phone can run this, then from the perspective of a mobile gamer, there's just no downsides. There are no downsides to this game coming out. The Battle Royale genre, we spoke a little bit about the titles on console. We got like Warzone, we got Fortnite, we got Apex Legends. We played a little bit of Blood Hunt. These are great games, but also in the mobile arena, there's just all sorts of different titles that you have to compete for here. We have Garena Free Fire, we have PUBG Mobile, the original. We have Call of Duty Mobile has its own Battle Royale, and even Fortnite. And the crazy thing about Fortnite is like it's the only one of these titles that we mentioned. Like PUBG Mobile and PUBG, like you can't play with each other.
It's not cross-platform at all.
Yeah, those are two completely different games. But the thing about Fortnite is that you can actually play on mobile with people on console on Fortnite, and so that is something that Fortnite has that kind of blows everything else out of the water. We will admit. But that's the thing is that it's going to be Fortnite's been out for 4 years, and when you want to release a new game, specifically a free-to-play game, you need to be able to make a splash. And I don't think Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier would draw as much of a following, even if it was on console or PC, away from the current free-to-play Battle Royale titles. Like Warzone, very polished. Fortnite, 4 years of polish on that one. Apex Legends, these are really big titans to compete with. A lot of people are saying, I don't want a Battle Royale that's Final Fantasy based. But when we release on mobile, like we were saying about their competitors on mobile, their PUBG Mobile doesn't have controller support.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's these games that have been out. Definitely, you see a lot of polish, specifically Call of Duty Mobile has an amazing Battle Royale experience. But even with all the polish, it's like they're just kind of in their lane. And I think Final Fantasy VII First Soldier can really find its unique place in the genre and succeed. And that's the other thing, is that like Final Fantasy games on mobile, like they succeed. Like the next Final Fantasy game that is coming out on console, that's Final Fantasy 16, and we're all buckled in. We're waiting for Final Fantasy 16. But there's like a city builder Final Fantasy on mobile. I bought Final Fantasy Tactics on mobile. I also play Final Fantasy War of the Visions, which is like a Final Fantasy Tactics gacha on mobile. There's a lot of mobile options for Final Fantasy. The problem is that a lot of these have been licensed out to different companies, and they aren't made specifically by Square. So it's a Square IP, Squaresoft IP, but it's not made by Square.
It's made in-house.
Yes, this game is made in-house. This game is made by Squaresoft in-house. They are not licensing the IP out to anybody. It looks like this is a Squaresoft game. So the next Squaresoft game that you are wanting to play is probably Final Fantasy 16, but this is going to be awesome because we get another one. We get a game made by Squaresoft. It's Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier. It's going to be awesome. If you're playing Final Fantasy 14, I want to just do a side note. You guys get content all the time.
So true.
So true. And that's great. And that's the last thing I wanted to touch about was that in the mobile industry, these games, these Final Fantasy games, even if they're licensed out to a third party and not made in-house, they just print money, man. Like the City Builder apparently made Squaresoft a ton of money. I'm sure that all these different gacha games that are have the Squaresoft IPs licensed to them are making tons of money. And so this is going to be just the same. It's going to hit the mobile market. It's going to make a ton of money for Squaresoft because of all the microtransactions. And I'm sure everybody's going to really love it.
Yes.
Diablo Immortal, it's like you can kind of... There's going to be a lot of similarities between this game and Diablo Immortal as far as the current community and how excited they are that the next game is going to be a mobile game. And basically, when they announced Diablo Immortal at BlizzCon, it's kind of like read the room. Those aren't mobile gamers. Those are all console and PC gamers that are looking for the console and PC experience. And Final Fantasy First Soldier, it struggles from the same thing. Like I said, like Final Fantasy 1, like was a console game. Final Fantasy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like all of these games, they're all console games.
Mm-hmm.
And so the community is a console-based community. They all have phones, and they're all going to play this game if they want to. That's the thing, is that Battle Royale really isn't for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be there. And you go on YouTube, and you can go and look at Twitch, and Battle Royales are definitely popular on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
but they're console Battle Royales. There's PC Battle Royales on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go on YouTube, you can see worldwide, there's a lot of people watching mobile Battle Royales.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be Garena Free Fire is a very popular one, but then also, Call of Duty Mobile has its place. PUBG Mobile still has its place. You can see people streaming Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
and it's knockoffs. Ha ha ha. But it's definitely an industry that makes a lot of money. You can
Mm-hmm.
Google how much money is being made in the mobile industry right now. It's pretty nuts. And so console isn't like just the only thing. It might be your bread and butter for your company, but you got to be able to go out and make it on another platform. And right now, the hot stuff in 2021 is mobile. And I really feel that for a mobile game, this is just going to knock it out of the park. There's
Yep.
going to be a huge community. I think that they're going to make a lot of money out of this. They're going to support it for a good long time. And who knows? Maybe we're going to get a remake of this game or a sequel to this game on the console once they've proven that this is like, yeah, I guess we are making battle royales in the Final Fantasy universe right now.
Yeah,
The
like kind of like Dissidia, but with all the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Or like they're like, the next one we're going to make is in the Final Fantasy X universe. Anyway, enough of those jokes, guys. This video is about just how stoked we are about this game. And like, there's some people that are a little, they're hating on it, and they're talking trash, but we're not too worried about that. And so hopefully you gain some insight and some information, and you don't have to worry as much about the haters that be hating.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't want to play it, they don't have to. But I think there's going to be a ton of people playing this game and enjoying it. We're going to cover it. We're definitely going to be streaming this game and doing some YouTube releases on it. So stay tuned to our channel. We usually do Battle Royale on the console. We play a lot of Warzone, and we also play a lot of Fortnite. But yeah, Battle Royale is kind of our thing, and we've been excited about this game for a long time. And now that it has a release date, we're here for the whole ride.
Woohoo!
Alright guys, that's going to do it for us. I hope you guys have a wonderful time playing this game when it comes out. Thank you. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye!